Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm tired, but I'm really proud of the kids. Obviously, take 2 out of 3, number one team in the country on the road in this environment. I think that's to be proud of no matter what, right? I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. But then to be able to take the series the way we did today, obviously a tough loss in game one. And I told the guys in between games, like, we can feel sorry for ourselves and we can be, keep our heads down and our shoulders just that. I mean, you could just look like you give up and we go out there and just throw our gloves out there and get our butts whooped, or we can compete and fight like crazy. We still got a chance to win the series. We got to have short memories. And so proud of the kids, the way they competed in that third game. And, we just battled. Obviously, A.J. Jones gave us a huge start. I mean, just big time stuff. Obviously gets out of that bases loaded jam, which was huge. Ben McCabe gets the big home run to really get us going. And just, I think, AJ going to throw up a couple zeros and Ben's home run. It just let them know that, like, we weren't here to roll over and die. Like, we can say whatever we want about last week and all that kind of stuff. But we knew that that's not us. We knew that wasn't our brand of baseball. And, the kids were pretty upset, and they came out today and wanted to make sure everybody, knew that we're still a great team. We're still a team that has a lot of things that they can do. One weekend's not going to define us. And, I tell kids too today, like, this isn't going to define us either. We're not going to look back and say this was the highlight of our year. We've already had the low point of our season, and we just got to keep moving forward, keep pushing the needle. But we're not going to look back at the end of the year and say, oh, that second weekend was the best part of our season. Like, we got a lot to prove, a lot to do. And I'm just proud of the way the kids came out this weekend. And, just was fun to be back in the dugout and be around them. And obviously winning's a lot of fun. So excited and grateful, and praise God. So,
Coach, can you just maybe kind of talk about the emotions for you over the past week? I mean, obviously getting the positive test, you wanted to be out there so bad for the beginning of the season, and then having to maybe watch the games remotely and seeing the results, and then after Tuesday night getting shut out, I'm sure the team is feeling down. Just what were the emotions like after after those first 4 games, and then heading into this weekend?
Yeah, it's tough to know. I tried to obviously talk to the coaching staff, and I talked to a couple of the leadership guys, just trying to feel the vibe. Just 'cause it's tough, obviously watching it online. It was really difficult to dodge COVID for 11 months, and then test positive the Monday before the season starts was just really difficult. It's hard just to never miss games. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not something that you're used to doing. So watching your own guys on the TV, not on a replay, but live, was just really, really difficult and just different. Especially because, the whole family, we just kind of had gotten better and we're almost 100% by Friday. So that made it even harder. I wish I was sick during the weekend, so I felt like I was missing it for a reason. So that made it tough, but it's tough just not being in the dugout and getting the vibe and seeing how guys act and seeing how guys perform and just their body language. Like, it's just really hard to tell on a screen, on a TV. So you just feel, I just felt helpless. I wanted to help them. I knew the guys were hurting, and we talk a lot about, everybody has envisions what their life is going to be like, what their season's going to be like, what their career is going to be like. You know what I mean? Like, they come in here and they think, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be an All-American. I'm going to get drafted. You know what I mean? Like, and they have this plan, but it never goes to plan. And, I think our guys probably had a plan of what they thought this season was going to be like based off of last year. And as much as you try to prepare, you get punched in the mouth. Like, it's hard, but I was proud of our guys that we just competed. But the emotion just for me, just being back, was just elation, really. Like, just glad to be back with the kids and watching them compete and trying to help in any way that I could to allow them to be the best version of themselves. So, emotional, just, because I'm proud of them, how they played, and as a head coach, you just want to see your kids do well, and you want to see them be able to handle these types of situations, and the joy that, the post-game meeting on yesterday and the post-game meeting after this, the joy that they have, and, just listening to them on the bus ride from the field to the hotel. Like, you just hear that elation and that joy and just the excitement. I mean, these are the things that they're going to talk about for the rest of their lives. And in the recruiting process, you just promise them that they're going to make memories that they talk to their kids about. And now that this group, a lot of this group, has the ability to say we went in and swept Auburn and went and took 2 out of 3 from the #1 team in the country. Like, those are the types of things that they're going to sit around their dining room table talking about for the rest of their life. But we're not done yet, right? Like, we got more memories to make, and excited to be, back in the dugout with them to help them, do that.
Let's talk about the performance of your starters this weekend. What did you like about what they came out with, and what was different in their approach versus last weekend?
Yeah, again, I think just the expectations and what they envisioned, and just I mean, Colton pitched pretty well last week. I mean, we made a couple errors that really cost us, and he had to do a better job of handling it. And again, I think that our pitching staff handled the adversity this weekend like unbelievably well. David Litchfield last night gives up that home run, like doesn't get phased, like his body language, his mental game, his routine that he did just let me know that he didn't care. He didn't care that he gave up a home run. He was going to get the next whatever it was, couple outs, and he did that with a huge save. But Cole did the same thing, just when things didn't go right or whatnot, he just did a much better job of handling it, just controlling the things that he can control. Hunter, the same thing. I thought Hunter pitched great against FAU until he gave a grand slam. And then he just spiraled out of control. Again, that's the Hunter that I knew, watching him recruiting and watching him last year. And again, I think he came out today and pitched well. Like, I thought he did a great job of handling the adversity and being able to overcome a lot of stuff. AJ does a great job with again, gets the bases loaded, the home run, like doesn't let it phase him. Just keeps going out and competing. Zach Bennett, bases loaded, nobody out. We're up whatever for 6 runs. Bases loaded, nobody out. They're getting the momentum. The crowd's getting back into it. And you can say, oh my gosh, and panic and headlights, or you can just worry about executing pitches. And he did a great job of that. And get a double play and then the out and give up 1 run with the bases loaded, no outs. It's a huge mental game win. That's a huge just maturity thing. And to see a freshman do that's pretty inspiring and jacks me up. And again, same thing, like, you just, again, his first outings, it's just tough, man. Just a lot of things just didn't go right last week. And I thought the pitching staff did a great job bouncing back, handling adversity, being able to get out of some jams, make pitches. And, again, I just did a much better job of handling themselves and managing the game this weekend than they did last.
Coach, how is Alex Freeland being able to come in here and is now hitting 500 after a couple of weekends, including 6 hits this weekend?
I mean, just a really good player, obviously super talented. We talked about how when you come to practice, he just looks like the best player on our field. He's got a lot of growing up and maturity to do, but just to see him have the success that he's having, just a testament to him. Just his makeup and the things that he's done, and he's learning. And he, again, as good as he is, just tools wise, there's still a lot of stuff that he needed to get better at in the fall and even in the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if I would have envisioned him having this start that he has, but he's just gotten a lot of confidence, gotten some hits, just feeling comfortable at the plate, doing a great job, made some huge defensive plays. And again, we made some good. Connor Allen comes in, makes that huge pick. Jeffrey made a bunch of diving catches. Like, we just did a lot of great things this week and played the game really well. It was very similar to the way we played at Auburn last year. But Alex has done a great job. Obviously, I wish that he didn't boot that first ball that he had, but that's stuff that you expect from freshmen. You know what I mean? Those are the type of mistakes that they make. And, you're trying to get their feet wet and do those different kinds of things. And you just hope that those situations, don't hurt you too much. And, but again, when you kind of got to get through that and it gets down to just playing baseball, you can see, the talent that, a guy like Alex does, a guy like Zach Bennett does, and just being able to help us in some big spots. So, but Alex has been really good. We got to somehow bottle this up and make sure that he plays this well the rest of the year.
Coach, you talked about Alex Freeland, but what does it mean to have guys like Alex Freeland and Ben McCabe come up and swing the bat like they did this weekend?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, Ben hit some monster hits. I mean, the 2 home runs just were huge. He had huge RBIs today, double. Just big time at bats from older guys, obviously. So that's huge. And then again, Alex gets a huge single to extend the lead, score 2 runs, with 2 outs, just big time at bat. So We just passing the bat, like just trying to get the next guy up, like trusting the guy behind you, and just really awesome to watch those guys compete. And Ben's been huge for us, and 5 home runs, like it's unreal. Like I'm just proud of him, and caught really well today, and and again, I think that everybody jumped in during the course of the weekend. Jeffrey had a big hit. Pablo finally gets off 2 hits late there, the last 2 at bats, but gets a huge run after a huge stolen base by McCabe. Like, again, we just did a lot of little things, but everybody 1 through 9 helped out somehow. You know what I mean? Like, did something to pass the bat and get the next guy up. And I'm really proud of the staff, like just bouncing back and just working with the kids. And when I wasn't there, I'm just grateful for the work that they put in. Steven Branca, our ops guy, really stepped up, not only when I was gone, but just this weekend, just helping out and making sure everything runs smoothly and brings energy in the dugout. Like, the bench was awesome. The energy was great. Like, just fun to see the kids go out there and compete, and we just got to understand that we set the standard, and you got to bring it now every single weekend with that standard. And we play that way, we got a good chance of winning a lot of games. So, but 1 through 9, and again, even the pitching staff, just a bunch of guys stepped up, did some good things. Billy McKay comes in, gets some big outs, like obviously Litch and whatnot. So, I mean, just all around, team baseball. And again, we want to be dynamic and do different things and score different ways. And, we hit some big home runs, the first game, obviously McCabe hits a solo shot, but then we get a bunch of, just base hits and putting bats together, walks, hit by pitches, stealing bags. Like, didn't have to live and die by the home run. We were just being able to score different ways. Like, that's what our offense we want to be like. It's how we're built. And stolen bases. Jeffrey had a bunch of stolen bases. Rathbone, McKay. I mean, just again, everybody doing what they can to try to get the extra 90 feet and get to the next guy. And it's just fun when you see the guys clicking like that on all cylinders. And again, I don't think we were clicking on all cylinders. We still made some mistakes. We still missed some pitches. We still made a couple defensive miscues, like especially there late in the game. Like, we got to clean that stuff up. But we're a lot better team this week than we are last week. And that's at the end of the day, like, that's all I care about. Like, let's continue to get better, continue to move the needle forward, and continue to make that upward arc. And let's not be a roller coaster. Let's start where we got to start, and let's finish way better at that by the end of the year. So, but proud of the kids and proud of my staff. Like, they picked me up when I was gone. And again, I know the record doesn't look like they did, but the stuff that we did all last week prepared us for this week.
Colton, I know you talked about the pitching staff, but Colton, a year ago at Auburn, sets the tone on Friday against their Friday night guy and gives you that win and sets the tone for the weekend. And here against Ole Miss and their Friday, with everything that happened last week, to come in there, go 7 innings, give you that chance to set the tone for this series. Talk about him and being that Friday guy for you. And
that's what Friday night guys are supposed to do. They're supposed to set the tone. That's the whole thing. We just did a lot better. He just did a lot better job at dealing with the interference, right? Like, what is your talent level and what's the interference? And that ends up being what you are that day. Last week, the weather, again, the errors, the opening night, like just the expectations of this is what I want my season to look like. I think just a lot of interference that we didn't handle very well. It rains the first few innings. He deals with it perfectly. He handles adversity perfectly, in terms of guys getting on and how to get out of jams. He's pitching against his buddy. Like, Nikazi's a Wintermere kid. They played on the same exact summer team. Like, they grew up playing summer ball together the last 3 or 4 years in high school. Like, they're good friends. Like, that's a huge deal. Like, trying to manage that relationship and put that to the side and be able to go out there. He wants to do well. He wants to help the team. He also wants to beat his buddy. Like, a lot of different interference that he handled this weekend so much better. And again, I just think that it was, the hyped up stuff of the opening weekend and the expectations and things you want to do, and the rain, like just a lot of stuff that we just didn't handle as a staff very well. And he did such a much better job and really saw the guy from last year and just dominated on his arm side, just being able to throw. I mean, he was 89 and 93, sinking the ball away, keeping the ball off their barrels, being able to mix in his off-speed pitch, show in to really get them worried about it. Like, but just pitched like a Friday night guy's supposed to do. I mean, to go 7 strong innings and you give up 6 hits and 1 run, like, That's big time baseball. You need that on a Friday night, and especially in our league. I mean, the Tulane guy's going to be really good. The Houston guy's going to be really good. The ECU guy's going to be really good. I mean, if Friday night baseball in this league is really tough, you got to have a guy that can really toe the rubber and go pound for pound with those other heavyweights. And so, but there's no other heavyweight that I want on my team than Colton Gordon. I'm proud of him the way he pitched this weekend and bounced back. And again, same thing with him. We're going to keep moving the needle forward, keep raising the bar every single week. And go do it again next weekend.
Coach, kind of a different question. One thing I noticed, I know a lot of fans watching the game noticed, is that the Ole Miss catcher had an earpiece. I know they've been doing a wireless pitch calling in the SEC kind of on an experimental basis. Has that been expanded to all games? And is that something the American could utilize, or do you know much about that?
So we we had it too. So we used it. And so we actually last year, the American Conference did, it's like you have to get a waiver. It's like an experimental waiver. So the SEC has been doing it for a couple of years. So we did it last year and got the waiver. And the difference this year is that they actually allow that any conferences that, if you're playing conferences that have the experimental waiver, then you can use it, because the waiver is only for league games. So last year we weren't able to use it in the first couple of weeks. And because SEC can't use it unless it's SEC games. We can't use it unless it's American games. But then this year they put out a blanket waiver that said that any league that, if both teams have the experimental waiver and you agree to use it, then you can use it. So we were able to use it all weekend. They were using it all weekend. There's it's the ACC, the SEC, the Sun Belt, us. I can't remember. That might be the only 4 conferences that have the waiver, but I know those 4 for sure have it. So, but it's just good. I mean, it's a way to talk to the catchers, be able to obviously get signs in a little bit quicker. Do different things. We still use the cards on the forearms with runners at second base. Just doing everything we can to try to give ourselves the best shot at being successful. But it's a huge help. Just be able to do some minor, hey man, like throw this, fastball away, but let's get off the plate, or set your target up a little higher, like things that you try to teach the guys off the field that you can actually kind of help the catchers out a little bit in between pitches. And if there's something you need to get into him, it's a lot easier to do that with the walkie-talkie.
Coach, Jack Sinclair is obviously so important to this bullpen, but it hasn't been sharp early on. What needs to change for him to be better going forward?
Yeah, I just think he needs to get back to being himself. You know what I mean? Like, again, probably the same thing. And again, I haven't really had a chance to really talk a lot to Jack. So something that's going to be on the top of my list this week, because he's got to be a huge part of our team. We're going to win a lot of games. Like, Jack Sinclair's got to be the guy that's on the mound late in the game. And, whatever role we need him, like we need Jack Sinclair to be Jack Sinclair. So, just off to a rough start, and just got to make sure he's in the right mental space and just work hard and keep, again, the best way to get out of a slump like he is in, you just got to work. You got to get back to the basics. You got to make sure your catch play is good. You got to work in your bullpens. And you just got to go out there and do it. So I got to get him out there and get him in the games and get him back feeling comfortable. And I think just a comfortability issue with his delivery and release point, making sure that it's feeling where it needs to be feeling. So you just got to work hard the next couple of days in practice. I'm gonna get him back out there against Stetson and get him some innings and get it, get him going. Just like, again, just trying to get some of those freshmen in the games, just getting their feet wet. Like, we got to get Jack in the game and get him going because this team doesn't go without Jack Sinclair. So we got to make sure he's ready and able every time we're out there.
You've been raving about your guys. Their performance is even more impressive because this is a very good Ole Miss team. Just talk about how good their pitching was throughout the series.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to find a better staff with three really big time starting pitching. And that guy today might have been the best of the 3 in terms of the stuff wise. He doesn't have the experience that Nakazi or Hoagland do, but his stuff, the command and the stuff that he had was really, really good. But all 3 of them are Friday night guys. In the SEC, that's really tough to do. And just obviously Coach Bianco, who's the pitching coach, just does a great job with pitchers. He's been doing it for so long and had so much success developing guys. And, it was impressive to watch, but our guys battled against them. And I thought our offense did a tremendous job. I thought Ted had a great game plan. And, when we followed the game plan, we were really, really successful. and so it's just fun to see, but it's tough, man. Like those guys are going to win a lot of games. There's a reason why they're the number 1 team in the country. Those arms are just really, really special. They got a couple dudes out of the bullpen that are really good. They got some young guys that, going to be way better come, middle of the year than they are now. They just had great. I mean, every guy they threw out there was 90, 93, like just bullpen arm after bullpen arm after bullpen arm. And, it's very similar to Auburn last year. Some guys that were young and inexperienced, but once they get that experience, that they're going to have the stuff that's going to be able to help them win games. So, and then offensively, man, they're just super physical, super left-handed, and be able to do different things. But man, we were able to pitch around some stuff and miss barrels, but when we didn't miss barrels, like they were some of the hardest balls, those home runs, those backside home runs that the catcher hit Dunhurst last night. And when LaFleur came in and hit that home run in the first game, those balls are just absolutely crushed to the opposite field. So very strong, very physical. We did a great job of being able to execute pitches and go to their weaknesses, but when they hit balls like on the screws, like it was really, really hard. So a really, really well-coached team. Obviously Coach Bianco's really built this. Just to watch this program, to know where it was 20 years ago to where it is now. It's just talk about program builders. And I think that any head coach in the country looks at Coach Bianco and says, like, if you want to build a program, go talk to that guy. He didn't come and take over something that was really good. Like he built it from scratch. And averaging 1,000 fans to averaging 10,000 fans now in a regional, and just the things of their facilities that they've built, and just the atmosphere here, the students in the outfield. In a normal year, he talked about having anywhere from 25 to 3,000 students there for the game, and to have 10,000 people at a game when not including the students, but there's only 20,000 people in Oxford, So people are traveling from outside of town and coming in to see that. So, just to beat that kind of team in this kind of atmosphere, with that much talent, you really got to tip your hat to our kids and the staff for just really putting a game plan together that when we followed it, it was special.